voting doesn't mean much unless you have fair and open elections. And President Lincoln said 100 years ago, "I see in the near future a crisis approaching that unnerves me and causes me to tremble for the safety of my country. Corporations have been enthroned, and an era of corruption in high places will follow. And the money power of the country will endeavor to prolong its reign by working upon the prejudices of people until the wealth is aggregated in a few hands and the republic is destroyed." So I do worry about the impact of corporate contributions to the integrity of our election system. I chair the Helsinki Commission, which monitors human rights internationally. One of our principal objectives is to make sure we have free and fair elections in Europe, North America, and Central Asia. Well, my colleagues are now monitoring U.S. elections. They want to make sure, as we have signed on to these accords, that our elections are free and fair. My point is that Citizens United, to many of us, is a step backwards. And once again, Congress has acted in this area. And there's legal precedent. And I know this is a case that's already been decided and we're taking action, but I just want to weigh in to say that I think it's critically important that, that you follow, when you can, legal precedent and congressional dictate. Let me just change to a different subject that is on everyone's mind today, and that's what's happening in the Gulf of Mexico. As a senator from a coastal state of Maryland, I am deeply concerned about the damages that have been caused to our environment, to businesses, to individuals, the loss of life in the Gulf of Mexico. Congress has passed environmental laws. Again, they weren't easy. We passed the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, the National Environmental Policy Act, the Endangered Species Act, the Safe Drinking Water Act, and Superfund. Senator Feinstein questioned you as to the legislative intent to have certain areas covered in our wetlands, in which the Rapinos Supreme Court case was a huge step backwards, again, rejecting congressional intent. And then in Exxon versus Baker, we saw a restriction on the full coverage of damages in the Exxon Valdez matter. In my view, the court has weakened environmental protections that were hard fought here in Congress. Do you agree that the federal government, working with the states have a unique role in protecting our environment, and that the government must hold public lands and waters in trust for future generations? And will you give deference to Congress as we attempt to carry out that mandate?
Well, Congress certainly has broad authority under the Constitution to enact legislation involving protection of the environment. And I think that when Congress enacts such legislation, the job of the courts is to construe it consistent with congressional intent.